We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. What's good, y'all? Hope everybody's living well and staying blessed. I am Marcos Duran, the host of this show. As always, I'm with my boy, Evan Simmons.
Yo,
How you doing today, brother?
I'm hanging in there.
Doing good to hear, brother. This is episode 4 of Holla at Your Boy, and today I sat down with my buddy, my colleague, a good friend of mine, the other assistant director here out here in Temple, Marcos Duran, and we talked about the current climate of education, all the things that we're going through as teachers, his background in education, his just general, what would you say, just general background, right? Yeah. We talk about working out, how he became a runner, my views on running, and then we just kind of ended it with what we hope this year turns out to be, things that we missed out on, and things that we hope to see for the coming year. As always, if you like this episode, make sure you follow us on all things social media and subscribe to this page so that way you can get notifications for whenever new episode and contents drop. Peace. All right, we good?
Yeah, we got Rise and Shine campers.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, first off, go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Oh yeah. I'm Marcos Duran. I'm a local guy here in Temple, and I'm in I guess it was like my 9th and 3/4 year of teaching. My first and 3/4 at the high school. Before that, I was 8 years at Travis. Just out here hanging. That's it, man. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, so we all work together in some capacity, right? He works at Travis where you used to work at.
Yeah.
We work at the high school together. I work at Travis with him.
We're the Team Marcus.
Team Marcus. Shout out. It's another show that we're going to start. Just Marcus and Marcus complaining about stuff.
Yeah. We got plenty to complain about.
Plenty to complain about. Speaking of, and I want to get your take on it because you're the first person I saw that posted on it on Facebook about this super fun article.
How to relax.
Yeah.
And be cool.
Would you call it an article?
I don't even know if it was an article. I just saw the picture that said, relax and breathe. But how can you do that in a pandemic that affects your breathing?
Yeah.
And I never watched Seinfeld growing up.
Yeah.
But I've always known about it. Always known about the cultural references that made to it. And as soon as I read relax and breathe, all I could think about was Costanza, just serenity now, serenity now, serenity now, serenity now, serenity. That's all I could think about the whole time. And and I'm not one to make the most controversial posts on Facebook. I mean, I really do use that to highlight the good in my life.
Yeah.
Promote anything that I feel like should be promoted. At least in my opinion, whatever's worthy of being promoted.
Promote positivity. And
Yeah. I mean, I really do try to promote as much positive vibe as I can on Facebook. And unfortunately, with all the negativity that we watch on the news, I mean, I literally am watching the news probably good 5 hours a day when the kids aren't yelling at me.
That can't be healthy, dude.
And no, it's not healthy at all. But I just, I'm waiting for somebody hey, this is all over now. That's what I'm waiting. The breaking report chimes in. It's over. Everybody can go back to normal.
It's all fixed.
Because that's the way it works in movies. And I do watch a lot of movies growing up, and I still watch a lot of movies. Some of them have changed demographics now because my kids and a lot more happy movies. My wife appreciates that. But when I hit
animated series.
Yeah, when I hit a wormhole though, and I'm hey, I'm gonna watch this movie about the end of the world. It's maybe I shouldn't watch this because this is rough. But anyways, so I posted that, and it just made sense at this point where we're at in the whole globalization of this COVID-19 emergency. At least for us as teachers, with back in, my wife posted this, back in March, April, May, we were the heroes.
Yeah.
Because we were making it happen every single day, making it happen,
it out,
reaching out to kids, and it wasn't a matter of you didn't do this assignment. It was a matter of, hey man, are you okay? Like, do you need something? I
Yeah.
haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. Are you alive? Which is, at that point, it was a very viable question. Hey, are you alive? Does somebody in your family? Is everybody okay? Just, wellness
You
checks.
still got a house.
Do you still have a house? Do you have food to eat? Do you need food to eat?
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff. But as it has progressed throughout the summer, it really has just become so inundated that we are in a bad place that now I literally just have to find ways to make it funny and humorous. Not because I have a twisted sense of humor, just for the sake of my kids.
For the sake of your sanity.
For the sake of my sanity, I need people to see, like, everyone always asks me, hey man, how you doing? I usually always say I'm living the dream. In reality, I would say that's 95% true. I own a house. I got a great wife, wonderful kids. I've spent a lot of time with them. I'm sure they're tired of me as they can be because,
Probably.
But at the same
Kids
time,
not used to seeing you as much.
exactly. At the same time, it's been one of those, like, if this were a regular school year, if we'd have finished it out like normal, as we hit the accelerator going into June, it's like, oh wow, we haven't seen you in a while. And there have been times I'm like, man, I am secretly grateful. I'm not secretly. I am, like, abundantly and publicly grateful to have had this time.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
we had a failed attempt at potty training my daughter, not successful, but we tried it. We went through it.
Again,
we
you
had
time.
we had chunks of time knocked out where it's like, hey, we're gonna take 3 days to knock this out. Didn't happen. All right, not ready for it. We'll try again in a month. See you then.
Okay. Yeah. So as a lot of us are doing, just doing your best to see the good in the situation. But I think as the summer dwindles down, it's hard for us to continue to see the good.
I don't,
Well as we have been.
Yeah, and I think because we work in a profession that at least I think, and I'm sure you do too, Evan, you can chime in on this too, man. We like to be highly organized.
Yeah.
And we do have multiple plans.
That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we do have, like, plan A through F.
Yeah.
And those are
On
usually
a regular year.
those are regularly instituted. As soon as that plan falls apart, all right, we're going seamlessly into B.
Yep.
No questions asked. And the kids would never know it.
Yeah.
It's just we make, like, all right, yeah, moving on. This is not buying
Not
it.
working
Let's
out.
do this. Yeah. And I'm to the point where it's like, all right, I've got plan L ready to go in the event A through whatever falls apart, A through K.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, maybe I should stop planning and let's just, like, start doing.
And even then, it's like you said, A through L. Like, is that even enough? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I've been, I'm talking to my other teacher homies. I'm sure you are as well. Just trying to chime in, and everybody's just damn confused, man.
Well, I mean, we just want to know.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. We want to know what the proverbial next step is. Actually, we want to know what the literal next step is.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
Yeah, and that's like my buddy. We have a group chat going, whatever, and he asked band folk. He's like, because he's a choir dude, and on a side note on that, he's like, dude, first 6 weeks, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna sing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that sucks, but yeah, like, I get it. That makes sense because we still don't know what that infection rate is in that setting. But he was like, first question is like, are you guys starting on the 20th? And then secondly, like, what are you betting on for the year, like, to happen? And I told him, I was like, bro, and what I agree with what you had told me a couple weeks back. You're like, best case scenario, we go back for the first week, mad spike, and then
We're out
shuts
2
down
weeks.
for 2.
Yeah.
And then we do that for maybe
That happens off and on.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
True.
6 weeks until somebody up top finally realizes this is a dumbass idea.
And by that point, I mean, we'd be past plan L.
Yeah. Exactly.
We'd be
Right.
well past L.
Because again, what is it that we're supposed to do? And he was like, if you believe that, why are you still planning to start? And I was like, well, dude, we don't have any leadership telling us what it is that's going on. At the end of the day, this is my job. So
Yeah.
we're gonna follow all the protocols that are in line right now, because that's what we're great at. We read all those damn rule books, all those guidelines, again on a normal year, and then this year we have all the 6 feet, 10 feet masks and all that, and it's mad inconvenient, but we're gonna do our best to make sure that we stay as safe as possible.
For sure.
With what is given to us. Now, is that the most safe option? Not really. But until somebody makes the call on what it is that we need to do, that's what we're stuck with. And
I do think that call is coming, but I think there's a lot of other dominoes waiting to fall into place. And I don't know what those dominoes are.
And
I don't think anybody
I think that's
does.
a big part of it too. That's why all of us are confused, is we don't know, like exactly like you said, things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
What is it? Who makes those calls? When is it gonna be called? Nobody really knows, and it's not fair to any of us teachers. Like, I can only imagine, like, honestly, man, if I was teaching English, bro, I'm doing all my lesson plans online, just straight up. Because even if they do come to the classroom, bro, I don't want you talking.
Yeah.
Just sit on your Chromebook, keep your head down.
There's so many variables that go into make all this work. If you have an elderly teacher that is in that age range, if you have a teacher who's a parent of children that they either go to daycare or they go to the school with you.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate thing, and so it's been, what do we do? Who do we call upon to help us out? Because, we can send our kids somewhere during the school day, but we're going to come home and
After
they're going
chilling with
they're going to interact
3
with us.
to
No
5
matter
kids.
how many spacing our distances are from everybody, they're still going to interact with us.
you can't tell your little 4-year-old daughter, like, hey, back up, son.
Yeah, I do on a regular basis, give it a stiff arm, like, back up. But it's one of those things. Like, we still have to take care of the families first, and that's where I think it should be. As much as I'm all gung ho band about everything, at this point, what's best for us as humans? What's best for us to wade this out?
Yeah.
And I don't have the right answer for that.
No.
The best answer I do have is, let's be as cautious as we can. If you feel remotely weird about something, you start developing a cough at a time you never get a cough, stuffy nose, don't come near us. And that's just common sense,
Yeah.
And I don't want to say teachers are going to be glorified babysitters at one point, but at some point in this whole thing, if the state pushes it the way people think they will, to disinfect the room before the kids walk in, to disinfect it when they walk out, how much classroom time is that get into? But it should, because the safety of the kids is the most important thing. So it's one of those, it's that very, very it's not even double-edged sword anymore, because there's so many variables we can't account for. But the thing that we should always account for is the safety of the students. That should always be at the forefront of everything. Is this safe for these kids? And we'll have, kids that will stay home, and more power to them, man. We've told kids already, do what's best for you in this situation. Don't worry about us. Do what's best for you at all times. And I think some kids are really starting to understand, like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't. It's like, yeah, maybe you should.
Yeah, it's your call, dog. Like,
totally your call.
The kids in the family have more, and their family have more, I guess, leeway than they realize. And I think, man, that's weird. It's gonna look, this year's gonna look weird, man.
And with all that said, to go back to the start of the conversation, TEA had time to post a graphic about relax and breathe.
Do you guys want to do that right now? Just take a deep breath.
No, man, I don't want to take a breath. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the world doesn't fix TA.
I will feel better when I just kind of like, woosah, just, tug the ears and let all breathe in God's love out with frustration. That'll manage there. And I do believe in that, man. You literally breathe it in, you push it out, and you push out all the frustration, and you will feel better. You're absolutely right.
Out here, I'm a big advocate for the meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that it's coming from, I think it was Karen Batson.
Yeah.
She was like, deaf tone much or something along those natures. And just like, good. Thank you for reminding me to meditate and take deep breaths.
Yes.
That's not your job. Your job, dog. Your job is to tell me how the hell I'm supposed to teach.
Give us a plan.
Give us say
Anything.
something. Or yeah, dude, who's more deaf, TEA or Betsy DeVoe?
I don't know, man. They're oh man. I don't, also seeing my girl Miss DeVoe, but
Bro,
it's running pretty. They're doing a nice job of
she was
playing tag back and
casually
forth.
was like, yeah, it's just gonna be like 1% kids die.
Anytime you say 1%, no, it's like 0.1%.
She's at 0.02%, and that's 14,000.
Maybe she rounded up.
My bad.
Yeah.
I misread that then. That's my fault.
0.02, but it's still 14,000 kids that
Oh
are.
yeah, whatever. Just 14,000 kids dead.
Anytime in a world like ours, when you say, yeah, 14,000, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll be good. No, you won't be. We live in a society where a kid should not have to die.
Yeah. Or just like all those other posts where it's like, what's the school shooter drill's gonna look like with all the social distance stuff on top of it. It's
you know what it's gonna look like? Me running across the street with all the kids and getting out of there, man. We're gonna
Yeah.
run to I-35. That's where we're
like
running.
we're still
And Pizza Hut.
Our
I will buy
plan-
them lunch.
Our plan is still
Yeah.
exit, get the hell out
Yeah.
towards 35.
Put your mask on.
Which don't forget your mask.
Not raising heroes, man.
Run your ass outside.
Yeah, we're gonna live to fight another day.
Yeah. And we got those new doors straight out.
The doors are nice, man. We're not even playing around, man. You got an exit out. I got an exit out.
I gotta make through 2 doors. You gotta make it through 1 door.
You know, on one of those days we had a lockdown drill. We didn't know it was fake or real. I mean, we never do. They call it, and this is when we were in the command center. So it took about 45 minutes for them to let us know we were having that drill. But that's always a good time to prep the kids, like, because they don't ever usually have it with us.
Yeah.
They usually don't ever have it with us. So I use that time to like tell the kids, like, hey, future reference, if we are ever in a real situation and you see me bolt out of the door, follow me. Don't wait to see if we're gonna, if we have an opportunity for you to be alive, we're gonna look for every opportunity to keep you alive.
Hell yeah.
And the kids are always like, oh, he's joking. It's like, no, I'm being as
very
serious as I can.
like-
And then they realize, like, oh yeah, he's not messing around anymore.
Yeah, I
He's
did.
got that, the intensity in the eyes comes on, and they're like, oh, okay. And one kid, I think one day in jazz band it happened, drill happened, and they're, all the kids are just staring at me like, is he going for the door yet? Is he going? What is he doing? He's inching closer to that door. And really, I was just kind of like pacing around because the kids were having a great rehearsal, and they, we get the text, hey, this is, hard lockdown. All right, cool. Not knowing it's a drill or not, just taking the precautions, turn off the lights, lock the doors, and out there, nobody ever realized we were out there. Nobody ever bothered us. Well, thank goodness, which is a great thing. The kids, once I told the kids that, they're like, all right, everyone watch it. And I was like, and I told a lot of the kids, except for the kids with our nicer school instruments. So, one of the kids with our berry sax is one of our marchers. I'm like, that comes with you. That comes with you.
You carry it
One
like
of the kids
another
with one of our
life.
Selmer tenor saxophone, that comes with you. Don't leave that here. Trumpet players in the back in my office. My horns are over here. I want you to grab all those.
All of them. Just you see a horn, grab it.
You see a horn with a name tag on it that says Regina, Eleanor, Shirley, and it says Duran next to it. You pick those up and you bring them with you.
They're at least as important as you are.
I mean, my kids will get those if something ever happens to me. So I need to make sure
That's a cool little not life plan, but life insurance.
Yeah.
$6,000 horn.
Yeah, give or take.
Give or take.
Per horn.
Per horn. Yeah, man, that's a nice little life insurance thing.
Yeah.
I remember the one drill that we had done. The kids eventually caught, like, same deal, locked all the doors, put them against the wall, and then I was posted up in a power stance with my hand on a chair, like on the leg of a chair, right next to the door, for like 20 minutes.
That's yeah.
And like the kids, like once it finally got called off, they were like, "What were you gonna do?" I was like, "Bro, if somebody rolls in, I'm gonna do something.
It's time to start swinging.
I'm swinging, bro. Like, I don't care if they got a gun. You get a chair to the face.
And you've been in those meetings, man. Evan, you too, man. They say like our SROs are like, tell us it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
Live to survive another day. Yeah, believe it.
Hell yeah.
If you're gonna clock a guy with a chair, I'm bolting out the door, man.
Yeah. If because my idea was that, like, because I was in the parking lot,
Yeah.
if somebody was like real tactical and just wanted to just do damage, they would just kind of like inch their way into the school.
Yeah.
Right? Because nobody knows I was out there in the parking
Yeah.
lot. Nobody knows what was going on down there. So if somebody came and rolled up on me, like I was like,
You could end it right
I could end it right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my damnedest to
Yeah.
do that. So if I'm throwing chairs, stands, there was a drum
Just
right next to me.
WWF on it, man. It don't matter.
Bro, I don't care. You're catching something to the face.
I mean, you got symbols around you.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have to be a symbol by itself. Symbol on a symbol stand and just,
chunk it out of them.
yeah, man, 300 it right at them. You know, and they're not gonna be like, oh, that hurt. No, that's gonna do some
gonna do
damage.
Oh, that's gonna hurt someone. Like,
It's gonna hurt somebody for sure. It's
That's not gonna feel good
Not
at
gonna
all.
feel good.
No.
But yeah, man, it's a really.
It's strange. It's uncharted.
So the school shooter drills are already uncomfortable enough as it is.
Yeah.
And you throw that on top of what the hell
World
is-
pandemic drills. How fast can you disinfect your room?
Yeah.
You know,
ooh.
which for us, you know,
That's a
we
lot.
used to have carpet.
Yeah.
Now we don't. So, you know, it's like every class we got a mop.
Oh
Got a mop.
boy.
Got a mop.
You and Brent got to be there with the mop.
Yeah, man.
Going down that.
You know, and
that big ass.
I even
bamboo
thought about,
floor.
hey, we should get spittoons. Have like a community spittoon, but that will get super gross after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
There's not enough hazmat suits to deal with that.
That's rough. Yeah, man. It's just. It's weird, man. It's such a weird time, and it's nobody knows what's going on. And
But I will
don't know if
say-
that's comforting or not.
I will say, I have enjoyed the time at home. That's unprecedented time at home.
That's
Like
good.
I've absolutely enjoyed every second of it. You know, I wake up, make the kids breakfast,
Yeah.
let Jennifer sleep in, no problem. You know, I go out to the garage, do some exercise, and work out a little bit. Kids come out there with me. They get their outside time. They're not just still like working out with me, but they're throwing stuff at each other and, you know, drawing on the driveway. You know, I push Morgan around in our stroller. If I do like a light run that day, I don't ever push her around for a long runs or anything because we don't have a jogging stroller. I just have one of those mobile homes with my
Yeah.
Graco. And I used to push Preston around in that for like 6 miles
Jesus.
through hills. And no, I'm never doing that again. Like that was just rough. And yeah, I'm just not doing that. But like it's like I said, the unprecedented time to kind of rediscover some things has been awesome.
Yeah.
Like I won't argue with that.
And
I've been able to be at home, do all the school stuff when we were in the initial quarantine phases of this, and I had a real nice balance. Dealt with a kid, you know, worked. That's terrible to say. I dealt with my own kids. I enjoyed the company of my kids in the morning, and then, you know, Jennifer would do her school stuff. We'd block out an hour for Preston's things. Morgan would sit there and do whatever Morgan does. And,
Morgan thing.
yeah, she'd do Morgan things, man. But I mean, she would jump in with Preston. You know, if he was working on handwriting, she can hold a pencil the right way. That's for sure. You know, but she'll be like, you know, I'm drawing circles, and which is awesome. So like I said, it's great. You know, give them some lunch, and then, you know, the afternoon portion comes along. I'm answering emails as kids are slowly waking up. You know, as the day goes, the more emails come in from them. By 12 o'clock, they're really firing in because everybody's awake now and
realizing they got stuff to do.
Yeah, but like even like me when we first started quarantine, I pulled out like all my practice stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna practice an hour a day. I'm getting back into this. That lasted like 2 weeks.
Better than me, dog.
Because I mean, I was like, I'm gonna play this scale, and I like have it. If I had my scale book, it'd be like marked on this day, quarter note equals 92.
Yeah.
And I just went through my old HV books, and because I wasn't teaching lessons either, because I didn't know how that was gonna work, and you know
how
me,
to do it.
yeah, like you know me, like I really enjoyed the teaching lessons aspect of all that stuff. But just kind of getting back in, you know, so like I spent like a week on a Cannonball Adderley transcribed solo. It was already transcribed. I just like learned it,
Just
and
learned it,
emulated
yeah.
the way he did it, you know. So I mean that was cool. And then I was like, all right, cool. In 2 weeks we're going back to school. Everything will be cool. And we didn't. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've reached my level of interest, you know. And I was like, yeah, all right, cool.
It's hard to keep that motivation up.
Yeah.
Man. And this was part of what I wanted to talk to you. Ask you a little bit more about was what you just kind of touched on, was the difference in your quarantine versus mine.
Very different.
Very different.
Very different.
Because obviously, you know, you have family that you need to take care of.
Yeah.
So that kind of kept you on somewhat of a schedule.
Yeah.
You had to make sure Preston was learning stuff. as opposed to me.
We still do.
Which
He has a book that we bought for summer learning.
Yeah.
Listen to me talk. For summer learning. I ain't raising no fool around here, man. That's for sure. Mama didn't raise no fool. But
Those
for summer learning, and
kids gonna be smart.
he's doing a kinder to first grade bridge book.
Mm.
You know, kind of some skills he learned in kindergarten, some things he's going to learn,
Gotcha.
introductory things, and he's almost done with it. So,
Right on.
you know, now that we are getting ready to, I don't know, I guess start back up. I don't know.
Starts on.
I have to go to work tomorrow. That's what I know. So, but you know, we've slowly made it to the end of that book. Hopefully we finish it, man, because you know me, I can't just end it. I gotta have finality, and he's gotta get that last sticker for that last book.
I feel you. But the difference in that as compared to what I had going on, which was just me chilling in this apartment and not doing much, man. I didn't have much of a schedule to follow. Like,
I don't know, what kind of schedule did you have?
Dude, honestly, I was waking up about 10, 11.
Because that's way different than what
Way
you do
different,
in the work world.
Oh, dude. And this is what we were talking about a lot when we were having our dinners, because eventually after like, what was it, about a month, Evan?
Yeah, about a month. We
About
started
a month, yeah. So like a month, I was just big, like I didn't see nobody for a month, and that was rough. And eventually me, Evan, and a couple of the other young cats out here started having dinner together. But yeah, my thing was like, my motivation comes from, what did I say, competition?
I think you just said like outworking like someone.
Yeah.
Or, like just working in general.
Just on the grind.
Just
Yeah.
like, yeah. So
Just
it's
on
like,
the grind, man.
Right.
I appreciate grinding. I appreciate hustling. So that's why it was like, when I first moved out here, I was like, I need to get a workout in, but I know my teaching schedule is going to be stupid. So when am I going to work out? I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. I'm going to go get my hour-and-a-half workout in, take a shower, go do 7 a.m. rehearsal, teach through the entire day, teach at 3 campuses, then do whatever 2 to 3 hours afterwards, do some other stuff, go to bed, do it again. Starting all these different programs, running it, doing it all by myself. But then as soon as the world shut down, my mind was like, nah, dog, you good. You ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah.
You ain't teaching, there's no competition you working for, there ain't no anything going on.
It's funny, the word grind like involves like friction against something else.
Yeah.
I think like it's almost like you are working against like something else. You're
Yeah.
working against like either the world, your job, or whatever. Like there's always something to
Constantly
go
working against something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I didn't have that anymore. And so then my life just kind of went back into my natural body clock, almost went back into my bartending body clock. So it's like, you know, back in college, sometimes I'd have to wake up for a class, but if I was working on a Friday night, like,
That's probably 24-hour
yeah, man.
recovery Sunday.
I slowly roll into 10 a.m. to noon.
Roll into a Saturday brunch.
Yeah, get some light food, go hang out, maybe go back to work. But yeah, I was waking up mad late. Then I knew that I was supposed to have office hours from like 8 to, 2?
8 to 12 or
8
something
to 12,
like that.
something like that. I was like, yo.
But our kids, I mean, in all honesty, like our kids wouldn't even do that until, like I said, like from I would say like 2 o'clock on.
Yeah, exactly. So I was
almost like 2 to 2 the next morning. You know, like they really would.
Yeah.
And it just had to be like, I'm not answering that email. Because you know me, like as soon as somebody sends something, I'm like,
Bink.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and I was like, well, I ain't gotta wake up for nothing. I'll be the due to the office hours from like 2 to 6. And you know, sure enough, it worked out well. But then I tried doing the practice thing. Didn't have much gear to practice on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, did some drum set stuff, picked up a clarinet, picked up a baritone, tried to brush up on those.
Yeah.
But then it, you know, just turned into a lot of movies, TV shows, PlayStation. Thank God I bought a PlayStation back in Thanksgiving, or else I
don't doubt that.
I wouldn't have talked to anybody.
Yeah.
That was the saving grace, because me and all the other teaching homies my age, we'd get on about 9 p.m. when everybody was done doing their respective days of work.
For sure.
And then just like bullshit for the next 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and we, like I said, like you said, we have 2 totally different quarantine stories going on there. Like me, it's just ingrained in my nature to be on a schedule.
Oh, for sure.
Just it's ingrained. I mean, that's like from my dad and mom were teachers. Like, why did you sleep past 8 o'clock? I don't know.
I'm sorry.
But they'd be in there like 8:05. You should be awake already. You should have already eaten breakfast. You missed breakfast.
Okay.
And that's where I get it now with my own family. You know, my
Yeah.
wife was like, "Why are you talking to me? Go feed the children if you want to be awake." All right, yeah, cool. Let's do this. You know, Morgan has not. So during that early quarantine, Morgan would not stay in her bed.
Really?
Yeah. So she'd go to bed at like 7:30. Stroll in right at 1:30. Hey, let's play. And she would she would have thought she had like 15 hours of sleep.
Damn. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, no, we're gonna go back to bed. So we go, and that was like that for about 3 months.
God bless.
So I mean, just anywhere within that time, there was that going on. But you know, I did work hard to
Come on, man.
to keep a schedule.
Yeah.
At least for me, you know, if I could always, Jennifer will tell you, like, she usually sleeps in quite a bit just because I'm more the morning person.
Yeah.
Have no problem with that. There are days when she knows I'm dragging. She'll be like, hey, I'll take care of them tomorrow. Don't worry about it. All right, cool. But I'll still be awake.
Yeah.
I'll just be
Just take
staring
it
at the
easy.
ceiling. No, I'll just be staring at the ceiling in the bed. Like, should I get up now? You know, like, all right, yeah, I'll get up.
Yeah.
So, but it's, yeah, man, two totally different stories. And what I found what worked best for me, man, I don't know, keeping some kind of schedule. No matter how ridiculous it was, like in your case, you know,
Yeah.
doing the super extreme hours where it's like, hey, I don't have to go to bed. I can stay awake till 3.
Yeah.
You know, me, I was like, I'm still gonna go lay down at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna watch whatever's on because we cut cable right at the same time.
Oh, right.
And we went straight to Hulu. So
Okay.
we bought the Apple TVs
They
for
got
the
that,
house,
yeah.
and we went no more. Cut the cord. Cut it.
Big move.
Yeah, that's a bold move at that time because the restaurant was like, man, we shouldn't have cut cable. Like we should have kept that.
Goofed.
But the more everyone started realizing how serious it got,
Yeah.
Hulu put more things on.
True.
True.
Yeah.
Some of those streaming services became
Yeah.
free for everybody.
Yeah.
So that worked out, you know, and so like what worked best for me is just ended up. I think it was like the running,
Yeah.
you know, like and you know me, I run crazy miles,
Stupid miles.
you know, and I don't run them very slowly.
No, you don't.
I literally go to exhaust all the frustration out of me, which, you know, during this quarantine, I ran a half marathon. I didn't set a PR on this. The guy I ran with, he set a PR, which is
Yeah.
fantastic, you know.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, it's a huge shout out to my boy Josh, man. But he crushed that, man. But you know, when we finished it, he goes, "Did you PR?" I was like, "No, man, I didn't PR." I was like, "Were you even trying?" I was like, "I mean, I was trying, but
I was running.
you looked like you were dying a little bit, so I didn't want to kill you." You know, I was like, "You know, we could have picked it up a little bit along the way." He's like,
Yeah, you just keep a pace with
He's
you,
like,
right?
"Oh man, I hate you." Yeah. And the funny thing was, he would try to keep pace with me, but I would try to match his stride. So I mean, we were constantly,
Just going,
going back and forth, and you know, it's a good little motivation throughout that stuff. But that was like the big part of the quarantine that was not like family related, you know. And I usually take like an hour a day just to like be outside, do something early in the morning. Now that it's, you know, on my way over here, it's like 105 degrees in the car.
Seriously, it's just
You know, it's
stupid.
It's stupid here, but that would be one of the big things that really helped me push me through this.
For sure.
Was just keeping myself on that normal schedule, if you want to call it that, keeping some kind of physical activity regimen the whole time. And I, you know, during this quarantine, I somehow got into my head that I'm going to try to qualify for Boston in 2021. I'm going to try to run a marathon in 3 hours and 5 minutes.
3 hours and 5 minutes.
My first marathon was 3:39, so I just got to shave off
That's not
like 34 minutes.
Far off.
And as I've been looking at my times, I think my fastest mile on the only marathon I ever did was like 7:45. And now my fastest mile since that, with all this stuff going on, has been like 6:21.
Jesus Christ.
But I can't maintain
Yeah,
that.
you can't maintain
I can't
that,
maintain that.
but
I mean, that was like in a
still.
straight up like, how fast can I run today? Let's try this. And just like, all right, cool. You know, by the time I finished, and that was like, I'm just gonna run a mile. We're calling it a day
Yeah.
after that. So, but like I came like once I did that half, and I was like, I could totally do a marathon. I think I can get 3 hours.
Yeah, dude, I still think you definitely.
And it's just been, you know, I'm waiting for as soon as my best friend growing up, my best friend Brian, as soon as he kind of like officially tells me like, oh yeah, dude, you got that. then I really will
You
believe.
get the
'Cause, when he gives me that
thumbs up.
that best friend thumbs up,
Yeah.
he's like, oh yeah, dude, you got that. Because when I panicked when I signed up for that first marathon, thinking like, oh man, like, what do I get myself to? And he goes, oh man, like you got this. And I was like, okay, yeah, I got this. Like, yeah, it's just that instant verification of like, oh yeah, okay.
Someone that knows you.
This is not going to be
Yeah.
scary. A guy that's run with me many times, he'll tell you
He
like,
knows what you're about.
we go at his pace. When I've run with him, we've gone at his pace, and he's like, "Hey man, slow down. You keep picking up." It's like, "Oh, sorry, dude. I don't ever realize it. Like I just go and I stop thinking about things and I just go."
Dude. So I definitely wanted to get into working out, but just I think last thing on the quarantine, I thought I was a morning person. I thought I was, and I think just being forced to quarantine, my natural clock kind of reset. My body was like, "Nah, dog, that ain't you."
Hey, and everybody's got to do it their own way. Like, there's no good way to do it, man. Who told you like, hey, this is how you quarantine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nobody knew what to do.
This is all new.
Dude, no one can spell quarantine about
And I'll tell you, man. I remember being your age. I can't believe I'm saying that. I remember being your age, like being young.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that far off, but at the same time, when I was your age, coming out into my first gig over at Travis, it was none of the directors had kids at that point.
Yeah.
We would always go hang. We did like what do you guys do? You have your family dinners or whatever you call it. We'd all. I mean, hell, man. The Batsons, Rashal, and who was the other? Some of the younger, the percussion guy at the time, Andrew Klein. We'd go hang out at Pizza Wings and things, and we'd shut it down. You know. I don't do that anymore.
Can't.
I mean, we can. It just kids can't drive us home. So, and I'm not gonna sit on Morgan's little Minnie Mouse airplane to get home. So
She tries to pull you.
but yeah, it's funny how if I were your age, I would have been in that exact same position because I would have turned into I probably still would have woken up at 6 a.m,
Yeah.
having gone to bed at 5, and just powered through to the next day, and just
Power
done.
through all that hour.
That's like my exact schedule right now.
Yeah, and just like, all right, cool.
That's
I'm just gonna
basically-
go until I pass out from exhaustion. I'll wake up and I'll do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Different life, man.
Like
Different life.
even going to New Orleans,
Yeah.
back when the world was open for business, we went to New Orleans.
That feels like forever ago.
Like, I was like dragging the whole time.
Yeah.
Like when we got, like the only time I didn't feel like I was dragging was when we got on the bus to go.
To go back home.
No, to go to New Orleans. Like to go to New Orleans, but to still wake up. Like you're my roommate. Woke up and then we'll go for a run. You coming? No.
Nah.
All right, cool. I'll be back in a while. You got the kid? Yeah, I got the kids from here. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those
straight
kids,
up.
and
Yeah.
some of those kids would be up there running. We're like, what are y'all doing up here? Why are y'all up here? Oh, we just want to get some extra. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, whatever. Don't break that.
Good talk. Good talk. Yeah. That's right, man. That was
this year.
this year.
That was the last big thing we did. No, that's the last. Solo Ensemble was the last.
Solo
big
Ensemble was the last big band thing we did.
Yeah.
Damn, that feels like forever.
Yeah, because like we were just getting ready to like really dig into the contest music.
Yeah.
You guys, Evan, luckily you got to go to contest.
Yeah, look, went to contest, and then the next week was spring break, and then just like
Yeah.
we're done there.
But yeah. So working out, I
You ran a half.
vehemently growing up, my entire life I've been against running. Running sucked. I hate it. I
It's good
purposely did sport. Like in all the sports I did, I was the position that didn't run. Played soccer for a majority of my life.
Really?
Goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The entire time. Why I got 2 dislocated shoulders, a messed up back, and some jank knees,
Too explosive.
Yeah. I was getting after it too much during practices. Martial arts, you run to keep your cardio up, but
Yeah, man. Do that Luke Kane flying kick. That's what you got.
if only, man. But so when I was working out in college, man, I was big into just weights.
Yeah.
Just big into weights, and that's what I've been doing, and I've been forced still I would be like, all right, I guess I'll do a mile today on the treadmill. But then I came here and met you, and again, my life is just rooted in competition.
Yeah.
So you weren't lifting weights, and I was like, all right, well, he works out, and I need to do something about that. I guess I'm gonna start running now.
Yeah.
and
You know what you were getting into.
didn't know what I was getting into,
no
bro.
clue.
I thought you were just a casual ass runner.
Nah, man.
I'm
never in it to win it, but I refuse to be beaten by a kid in a race. Absolutely refuse to be like burned by some 12-year-old, 8-year-old. I've been in a race where like a 7-year-old like flew past me. I was like, no,
bro, that's me.
I'm gonna catch him. I'm gonna push him over.
But so all that being said, like you ran a legit half marathon. You had plotted it out.
Yeah.
You had people set up there with water and all that.
Yeah, my wife and my buddy's girlfriend like just tossed us water, ran by. Here you go, catch this. Take a quick swig, hand it back to him. Yeah. And
so up until quarantine, last summer, I just kind of got in my head. I was like, I'm gonna run 8 miles. I'm gonna see if I can do that. I've been averaging like 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah.
I think once I had done like 6, and I was like, 5, and I was like, I think I can push it. And I did the 8 miles, and that put me out of commission for a week though.
Yeah.
My legs were just done. But then over quarantine, I'm dumb. And I got in my head, I was like, I want to do 10 miles. That's more than 8. And then I was running and I was like, bro, if you're going to do 10, might as well do 12. If you do 12, you might as well do a half marathon. Half marathon's 13.1.
Yeah, man.
Just round it up to 14.
It literally is just 1 more mile.
Yeah.
2 more miles.
Just do 1 more mile.
Yeah, just do 1 more mile. And I remember I got to that 7 mile because I didn't plot a course. I ran from my apartment until it said 7 miles, and I ran back.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling.
Let me interrupt. When I say I plotted a course, it wasn't like I meticulously mapped out this strategic course.
That's
I was
right.
like, I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here. Crap, I need 0.2 more to go. All right, we're gonna loop this right here.
Just run.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run until it dings.
Till it says 13.1.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I just took 7 miles straight. Just ran it. And I remember feeling, I was like, I got that 7th mile, it dinged on my watch, and I was like, bro, I feel good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, where's my apartment? Where am I?
Where am I?
I think I ran, we're exit 201 right here, off 35.
Yeah, something like that.
I think I ran almost.
Would you run that way?
Exit 205.
That way, right?
Yeah.
Towards the highway?
I said 305.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just ran that way. And then, like I said, if you're from Temple, like not the small water tower, but that big ass one.
Big water tower. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I ran
That's
out
over
there.
by like McLean and all that, man. Actually, what'd you run to like Tri Supply?
Past that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Should've stopped
Right about that,
Buc-ee's.
right in that area. I ran past Buck. So I didn't loop there.
Okay.
I kept going until it got to the other highway. Yeah. So I ran past Buc-ee's until it turned onto the next highway. I ran to that water tower and then I ran back.
I don't even want to drive to Buc-ee's. How did you run all the way there?
I was just like, because in my head I was like, what else are you gonna do with your life today? You gonna sit there watching some TV, whatever, just run another mile, shut up. And I did. And then I just kept saying that. And eventually I did it. Mind you, the time wasn't anything spectacular, but check that.
But in
check it off the
those
list.
situations, like, the time is totally irrelevant. It really is. I mean, it's not something like, you would never walk out your door and go, all right, I've got an hour to do something. I'm gonna go run a half marathon real quick.
Yeah.
No, you're never gonna do that. Like in all reality. But the thing is, he just did it.
Just did it.
Like you're like, I'm gonna go run this. Not like you're gonna say, I'm gonna run this real quick.
Yeah.
And then when you hit that point where you're like, oh man, I made it 7. Yeah, okay, I feel good. I'll do this. I wasn't thinking that in my marathon or anything, but
Nah, man. The marathon's coming up next.
But it is one of those. If you got the time, I mean,
might as well
do it. Like,
Whatever.
what do you have to lose? Other than like falling apart to like completely.
I was worried because again, I'm mad single alone out here.
You are a delicate flower.
And
That's for sure.
my body will just give up on me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it didn't. But had it, I was like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what Marcus is doing. I don't even know if Evan's in town. I don't know if I can get somebody to come save me.
Yeah.
I might die.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think when you ran that, we were like not like coming out of the house. For
Yeah.
everybody. Like we were like, hey man, if you died, I'm not coming out.
I'm sorry, dog. Life lost.
Like I love you, but sorry.
And again, I would have been like, damn, yeah, it's probably a good call. I get it. As my knees just busted out.
It's on the ground. Just like,
just on the side of my knee, just like bleeding out. I'm like, I get it. But I want to ask you, like, how did you get into running? Why did that become your thing?
Man, I don't even
What
know.
was it? Because I did weights because, I grew up like
Sure.
seeing all the actors, all the dudes that are super bodied up.
Yeah.
Eventually got into the powerlifting thing, seeing old days of Arnold,
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman, Heath, Phil Heath.
That
all
stuff
those
like
dudes.
does intrigue me. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, wow, man, that's crazy. Like that, they got this body fat percentage. You have this kind of build, all this crazy stuff.
Speaking of body fat percentage, Ronnie Coleman in like the peak of his time, he had like 0.8% body fat.
That's so hard to maintain. Like, how do you survive on that?
I mean, that was during the show.
Okay, I
But
was
like,
wow.
but like he
lived
averaged,
like that?
He lived under 3%.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you gotta like fuel that at all times. I mean, granted, you showed me his meal plans a couple of times, so it does make sense the way he was doing it. But I mean, if that's what you're doing all the
And a
time.
whole lot of steroids. That's
Yeah, sure.
it is what it is. It was encouraged.
And they do what
back
you gotta
then.
do.
Yeah. You know what it is.
No, to get back, so let's take it way back. With 6th grade Marcos Duran here.
Shout out.
So I really wanted to do football.
Okay.
Parents wouldn't sign the forms.
Damn.
And I was like heavily asthmatic at the time too. Like if I took a step, if I took 2 steps in a light jog, I'd shut down.
Yeah.
So and they say like you have your emergency inhaler. I had like an emergency and the backup to the emergency inhaler, like all on standby, ready to go. And they were all like 3 different powers of inhalants.
Damn.
But then I got into band and band like took over. And even then, like I still go play sports. My cousin who is no longer with us, he passed away in a car accident 8 or 9 years ago. But like he would like always show me the baseball pointers. Like a lot of my friends would like show me the pointers of the ones that were in the sports. And so I would always practice with them. I'd be like the Harlem Globetrotters visiting team. I was that guy. And they would like dunk it on me. Yeah, they'd be like, all right, you're gonna stand here. I'm gonna jump over you. And all right.
I need to practice this, but I need a body. You got me.
I want you to jump up when I jump, and I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can. All right, cool. Yeah, I got that. I can do that.
You need that? I got you.
Yeah. So like I was always involved in like rec league sports whenever I could be, or whenever my body would let me, with all the asthma stuff. And then probably my sophomore year of college, went and did a checkup. Doctor's like, hey, like you just need to do some regular exercise, to help with your asthma, because it was getting pretty bad at that point. I'd have to like play it before I play an instrument. I could play it for anything. And I was like, I don't want to be on these inhalers anymore. I just want to be off.
Yeah.
What do I got to do? He goes, you just need to do activities that boost your heart rate, get it up in a certain level in the aerobic level of it and all that stuff. And I was like, well, what does that mean? He goes, well, you can do jumping jacks for an hour. You can jump rope for an hour. He's like exaggerating things because he's like, you need to get your body conditioned to be at that level at all times.
Gotcha.
I'm like, well, I don't have a jump rope and I don't want jumping jack. What else do you recommend? So my doctor at the time was a runner. His daughter was eventually one of our drum majors in band. Dr. Kyleberg, his daughter Lauren was one of our drum majors. And he told me, he's just like, just go for a light jog around the block. Just enough to where you feel like you're going to be at that point where you think you're going to need an inhaler, but then pull back from that a little bit.
Okay.
And so like after we had that talk in that checkup, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drop them in the trash can.
Cold turkey.
Yeah,
wow.
just like I don't need an inhaler. I had like a breathalyzer at home. I had like the breathing treatment machine at home. I had it at my college dorm and went all into my apartment. But I was like, I don't need these. And I went out for a jog and it sucked. I probably ran like a 15-minute like quarter mile. But
hard trudge.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally like. And I remember like panicking, like, oh my God, I need my inhaler. I'm nowhere near my apartment. Oh my God, it literally hit. But, I went out the next day, did the same thing again, you know, and that's been the course of, I would say, I don't know, I've been teaching for 10 years. Man, that was 7 years. So over the course of 17 years, it was literally just a way to manage the breath control, manage my breathing, improve my breathing. And, you know, I Teddy Roosevelt that thing, man. I was like, you know, I went to the wilderness. In this case, my wilderness was running. And I came back and I was like, I don't need that anymore. You know, because every time I do a checkup, he'd be like, so how's your asthma? I was like, I don't have asthma anymore. He goes, he's like, you have it, but you're managing it. I was
got
like,
rid
no,
of it.
man, I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it. I turned it back in.
I was tired of it.
Yeah, and I really was. You know, so I mean, when I fill out forms now, it's like, yes, I do have asthma, but it's like, well, what do you do to take it? Oh, nothing. I breathe. I breathe. You know, and I really do think mixing that with the more I got into like playing more advanced music, more advanced saxophone rep, and all this other crazy stuff that require all these crazy techniques or breathing. You know, being on constant control with that stuff. I remember being like tracking like the heart rate, because he gave me like a heart rate monitor to track. See, it's like just follow this meter for your heart rate, so that way you know what the level you're reaching. Yeah. Like my resting heart rate was like almost like 80 beats a minute, 80 or 90 beats a minute when I had asthma. Like that's how much I struggled to breathe on a regular basis.
God bless him.
And the last time I looked at my resting heart rate was like 47 or 46.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like it's just one of those, like I said, I just Teddy Roosevelt and it was like, I don't have this anymore.
Man, you just muscle through it, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what really got me hooked on running. Or maybe I do. The only thing I really pinpointed to, I mean, I just ran around like the local parks.
Yeah.
Didn't really worry about distance. I was just like, I'm gonna run for 20 minutes. Set a timer on the watch, you know, my Zune or whatever that was back in the day before that. I couldn't afford the iPod at the time.
Nah, man, those early iPods were hella expensive.
Yeah, they were. I remember I opened a new credit card to buy one of those one time.
No shit.
Yeah, and I got the free shirt on campus in college, just so I go to Walmart, buy the iPod, and then I because I never had a credit card, and then realized like, oh, you got to pay that back.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, I digress.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Check the first episode with Dwayne, and we talk about my inability to handle finance as well.
No, I understand. I totally understand that. So, but like, I was like, I'm gonna go run for 20 minutes, and I'm not here to set a land speed record or anything. And it was just a matter of getting off inhalers to help my breathing support, not feel broken down or anything. And I think during that time too, I gave up soda. I didn't have soda for like 6 years.
Damn, son.
Ooh.
Shout out to Young Duran.
Whereas now, like, hey, Mexican Coke, let me have 3 of them.
Immediately.
Yeah.
We're going to Trace.
We're going to Trace Mexican Coke. Line it up, please. Yes. So, but yeah, like I cut the soda out. I didn't quite eat healthy enough at that point to like help the asthma, because I mean the diet you have too also influences your breathing and all that stuff. You know. That didn't come till I met my wife. She actually got me to eat a whole lot better. I didn't eat vegetables before I met my wife. I did up until like 5th grade, when they all of a sudden got gross and it wasn't cool anymore. So, but then when I met my wife, she was like, hey, try this broccoli. All right. She like smothered it in cheese. Oh man, this is awesome. Green beans smothered in cheese. This is awesome. You know, it's like anything she could smother in cheese. It was like, that was my gateway drug into the healthier eating. So, you know, now I'll eat like a cauliflower rice bowl with like bell peppers and all kinds of other healthy stuff in there that I wouldn't eat. And so
15 years back, not touching it.
Yeah, wouldn't even look at it. Wouldn't even think twice about it now. But now that I've gotten into more complicated running stuff, I'm like, maybe I should eat that.
You have to.
Because that's going to make me feel a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. After you do a run, you get like your post-race beer, you get like your 15 pizzas. Like,
you got to do it.
You go to town.
Yeah.
And that's what you run for. You run for the victory parade at the end of it. But yeah, man, it started off in college. I didn't run track I didn't do any sports in high school. Marching band was my sport. If you want to call my participation level of marching band. Call my participation level of that.
Did you just waving hands?
I waved hands my senior year, and then I just kind of moseyed around for the first 3 years. I'm not proud of it. I really am not. You know, because at the time I didn't see the benefits of it.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
You know, I only did it, and I was a woodwind player, and we were always near the back of the thing, and I was like, they can't hear me. What's going on? And then, to this day, I got busted at UIL area contest. Or no, maybe it was BO. It was one of the two. I was just back there. I can't remember the show. It might have been like our Yiddish dances show or something. But I was just back there noodling around on whatever, not playing the music because they can't hear me.
Yeah.
They can't hear nothing, man. I'm just one guy, you know. But sure enough, the guy with that little cassette player walks by, and you hear as he's giving comments like, "And I love your technique here. This looks wonderful. This looks great right here. Yeah, if we need a little bit more of this." The tenor sax player has no clue what's going on. In fact, he's not even playing the right music. I would address this as soon as you can. So that was junior year.
Ooh.
That was a fun conversation in the director's office.
Oh man.
Because they knew it was me.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of it.
That's tough, man.
But he's like, hey, remember when you said nobody would ever hear this? Well, they heard it. Thanks.
And they burned us.
Yeah, he's like, and they torched us on it. It's like, oh. So that's why you should let me be head drum major next year.
Yeah. How did you?
You know, I didn't do section leader.
Okay.
I was
That's even more impressive.
I was one of those guys that I did lead by example.
Okay.
I had a big chip on my shoulder going into high school my freshman year. I really want to be in the highlighters. You know, you kind of know now what the highlighters have done since you've been here. It's no secret, man. Like
it's real.
It's a killer program.
It's real. And you work now.
I am now. It is absolutely.
Fingers crossed that you get to do something with that.
Yeah, I mean
year.
that is. I tell people ask me, how do you like being at the high school? It's like I literally am. I'm living the dream job, man.
Yeah.
I don't say that to be like sarcastic or funny or derogatory. I literally am like I'm where I belong.
Yeah.
I really do believe that, and.
You feel that too, when you're in the classroom.
And I never try to use that to kids, to make them feel bad. I always try to use that to inspire them. Like, hey, this is going to happen to you at some point. You're going to have a kid who's going to come through this program or another program, and you want to make sure they have the same experience as you had, if not better. So, I mean, that's always my goal is to give them that same experience, if not way better. And the cats I played with, man, holy cow, they were some players. I mean, that band that I had when I was in my junior and senior year, man, those guys could play their tails off. They're all doing big things now.
Was that the New York year?
That was the year before we officially went as finalists.
Gotcha.
So they went the group that went after I graduated were finalists.
Gotcha.
We were 3 points away from making it.
Damn.
And we had offered to them, hey, we would still love to come to New York to see the competition, see what it's all about. You need a demo band. And so they gave us, we were the demonstration band for the director's clinic, which is a cool thing.
Yeah.
So, but we got to hear all those 15 finalists. We're like, oh man, okay, now we see why we got beat. Okay, that makes total sense. So, but I mean, we still had the same amount of players and same good players. But anyways, back to, so how did I get to be that drum major or what?
Yeah, drum major.
Yeah, so I was one of those kids going into my freshman year. I had a chip on my shoulder because I got placed in concert band, and probably any of our kids that are going to be in band this year, they're like, I shouldn't be in concert band. Well, somebody's got to be there, And the saxophone section was probably as deep as it was now as when I was in high school. I mean, there was some strong players.
I feel like saxophone's just been running deep in Temple for sure, forever.
For sure,
It's just silly.
And we all took from the same guys. Everybody took lessons from the same guys. So it was just one of those all right, you're the next guy up. You're the next guy up. So I had a chip on my shoulder, and I remember our director Brent Caldwell. He's like, well, if you're not happy with your band placement, do these things to show us where you belong. He's like, so make region band. Okay, cool. So I worked my tail off and made first chair freshman band.
Shut up.
Had I done that, in retrospect, I should have done the big kid band because I would have obliterated it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and no, my teacher was like, we don't need to just do freshman, do the band. I was like, no, I don't know about that, man. I don't want to go up against our guys. I might not beat them. I want to, let me take care of this first here and then I'll worry about it next year. And then the next year.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps and just slowly put my nose to the grind, took lessons when I was told to take lessons, and literally just practiced my tail off. And all the directors had always saw that. And so when it came time, because when I was in high school, you couldn't have, you had to be like a junior or senior for the leadership stuff. They wouldn't let sophomores do it. I don't remember. But when it came to my junior year, they're like, hey, you should really be a section leader. I was like, no, I'm all right. I just want to focus on playing. That's all I want to worry about. That's what I want to have happen. I told them, my goal is to make a state band. And because of the region we were in, we did go against the North Austin schools. We didn't do anything like what we do now. I think we go as far south as maybe as Round Rock, maybe. We go all the way up to the Duncanville area.
Like that,
I mean, we have a huge...
Our region is weird.
Huge area that we go against. But at the time, when we were 5A, It was the Round Rocks, the Austin schools. So basically, like all the Harvey Patel students that I would go up against. And you know, I never would crack those guys. Like, you couldn't. Like for 3 years, I was number 4 area. You know, like, which it doesn't hurt my feelings at all because I'm like, okay, yeah, that guy's good. Like, I think those guys I lost to, they're all like military band musicians.
It all made sense.
Teaching at a college somewhere, like they went on and like actually did like some really big musical things that like they're doing great things and more power to them on that stuff.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, for sure. And then my senior year, you know, my junior year, the director Caldwell was like, "Hey, I try out for drum major. Just try out for it. Worst case scenario, you don't get it, and you can still go about your business." All right, yeah, cool. I'll do it. And in the interview audition process, I was just as cut and dry as I ever am. You know, they're like, "Show us your salute," and just a quick. There it is. Actually, it wasn't even that. It was more like, you know, you did the prototypical.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
That was it.
All these kids out there were like, you know. Yeah, you know, flipping pizzas, I like to call it, you know, back to go down, throwing it up, catching it, and you know, and I was like, I'm not.
Is that your salute?
Yeah, there was a lot of like lunging and a lot of like doing.
Yeah, man, I hate that.
So it was one of those that like I'm gonna be as practical as I can. I'm not gonna like be flashy about anything. I'm just gonna be as deadpan as I can, but like, hey, I'm all business, man. Like, you get me in front of people, I'm gonna be all, and like. They knew I was going to go into music at that point. Like, I think they just knew. So, and I was just hoping just to not have to march and play. I wasn't looking to be a head drum major, man.
You're just over it.
Yeah, I was like, whatever gets me off the field, please. You want me to announce it from the press box? I'll do that if you want me to. You know, I told them, I was like, hey, like I want to keep a family atmosphere. I want to do these things. I think this is great. I love this that we do. I love this. I just want to be the best representative for the band that we can possibly have. That's it.
Okay.
You know, and then when I got it, the head drum major spot, I was like, probably one of the few head drum majors to be in jeopardy of failing like every 6 weeks because I was in classes I shouldn't have been, and you know, it was like way more stressful than it probably ever should have been. And
asking all those teachers for those favors.
Yeah, I was like, hey, like I really like I took calculus because I thought I was going to UT at the time.
That's dumb. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to study music. Like I don't need to know how the derivative of x as it approaches the y-axis as it functions with as a limit. Like I don't care.
Yeah, I don't even know what those words mean. I'll be honest.
But God bless that calculus teacher because he's like, did you know that sound production uses calculus? Oh, I was not aware of that. Don't care.
He was trying.
And yeah, he really. And man, I have had some super patient because I'm not the smartest person in the world. Yeah. I'm not this intellectual giant that you see now. When I was that age, which even then I'm still not really a giant, but you know, I just know from street sense, common sense,
some life experience, you've learned something.
I feel like it's the 3 sense rule. You know, you have your street smarts, your common sense smarts, and then your book smarts, whatever you pick up in school.
Yeah.
You know, like those 3 things. I got a lot of the first 2, the street smarts and the common sense smarts. You know, like the book smarts.
Books are hard, man.
Books are hard. I don't understand that stuff.
I've been trying to force myself to read, man, and
I've read 2 books this summer.
Shout out.
Yeah.
There you go, son.
Rehearsing the Band Volume 1, Rehearsing the Band Volumes.
You know, good books.
Those are great books.
You
know, and it was like, oh, that's why Mark Scatterday does the stuff he does. That's why, you know, Eugene Corpron is like awesome. Like, oh, you're just like me. Way better.
Just doing it perfectly.
Yeah. Like, and like what's cool is they show like the guys' bios in there, and it's like, oh wow, you actually do have public school experience, so you really do know what you're talking about. This is crazy because you'll get those guys that don't have that public school stuff. They've been in front of like graduate level ensembles their whole life. They've never been a part of the grind in the trenches, and some of those guys that I'm like, oh wow, you really have like taught some stuff. That's crazy. Cool that you did that with a 6th grader. Cool that you did that with 7th and 8th and 9th. Like it's crazy the things that they do at their top level university groups that they did with their 6th graders.
Same stuff,
And the graduate students are still like, oh, we're not very good at this. You know, and that's music in general. I mean, they do that to kind of shake their nerves and their egos a little bit to make them do whatever they want to do. But yeah, man, that's how I came to be with head drum major. Just, you know, and I wasn't looking for any kind of like special treatment. And just I was like, hey, I'm just here to represent you as best I can. That's what I'll do.
Just whatever you need me to do,
I'll do because it was big to like do region and all this other stuff, and it was like, you know, I'm gonna do all these things.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna
check all those boxes.
I'm gonna check every box you want checked. And in all honesty, part of my upbringing was I was really good at jumping through hoops. I'm the middle child, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm the middle child.
You got to do You gotta
Like,
do it.
Older
Get
brother
some
ruins
love.
it for you. So they're like, oh, if you want a car, go buy one. Okay, got it. Oh, did you want to have this? You got to go do this. Okay, yeah, no problem. So I mean, I could jump through hoops like no one's business.
Yeah.
And that was that's been evident since like I don't know since I've been born. He's
It's
like,
always been there.
oh, don't mess with him. Like he's on a mission right now. Don't bother with him.
Dude, so then so you said by the time you were senior year, everybody knew that you were gonna do the music thing.
Yeah.
But you've also said that you were gonna do it since like 6th grade.
Yeah. So like the day I took a saxophone home,
Damn.
like I just took it out and had no clue what it was. Like they gave me a clarinet mouthpiece
What?
when I bought because we bought a used horn.
Oh, okay.
Like a super cheap horn,
I
nothing
thought
crazy.
your
Nothing
band
crazy.
director had.
But like
one.
I thought like this was like the holy grail. You know,
Yeah.
you seen like the movie Pulp Fiction when he opens
Oh.
the briefcase and he's like, you know, Vincent, we good? That was me. I'm like, yeah, man, we're good. Everyone be cool. Like that was me. You know, put the guy even gave me like a clarinet reed on accident. Like it was just, and so I like put it all together. Didn't no clue what was going on. Started trying to make a noise. I'm like, this is weird. Something's not right. It's not what it's supposed to sound like. I don't sound like Charlie Parker. You know?
I put my reed on upside down the first time.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, let's put this upside down, have the mouthpiece kind of turn a little crooked.
Yeah.
I was like, this will be fine. No.
Yeah. Like we're going back to Halsey music at the time. I was like, hey, like something's wrong with this. They're like, oh wait, that's the wrong mouthpiece. Sorry, man. And they gave me a replacement. And like I gotta put it back on, and sure enough, like, oh, dude, this is it. Okay. So yeah, I think from that moment on, something involving music was in my future. Not necessarily band directing,
Okay.
but like the more I got into high school, the more I got to, and I like, on all honesty, I was blessed by really great directors the whole way through. Middle school was Mrs. Fairley, formerly Mrs. Hartzog. You've seen her teaching bassoon lessons for us.
Yeah.
Her co-worker at the time was Michael Beard. He's now like a trade salesman up in like Nebraska. He was a college band director for a while, got out of that because it just wasn't for him anymore. And then the directors over the time when I was in high school was my concert band director was Allison Turner. I don't really remember much about her at all, just because I was a freshman and you know, no clue what was going on. Just worried about
trying to make sure you
put the
did
right finger down in the right place. So
make sure nobody's yelling at you.
Yeah, and then our second director was Carol Ice. She was my lesson teacher for my first year, and then Caldwell was our head director. The next year, I think that same group stayed together for another year, and then my junior year is when like kind of like all the right people came into place. Brent Caldwell was still the head director. John McPhail, who was one of the greatest guys ever alive.
I've heard that name.
He's down in Round Rock now, man, but just he's the guy I think that really sparked it. And then the third guy, Aaron Horn, just that team of guys gelled really well. If they didn't, we never knew it.
Gotcha.
Like they just in public appearance, they just gelled really well, and they're like, oh, you want to go do this? Well, here's how you do it. Here's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, my senior year they let me conduct concerts. I conducted like the symphonic band. So when I was deemed a band boy my senior year, because first period wind ensemble, second period played clarinet in that. I tried to get in third period concert band to play flute, but the counselors wouldn't let me have it.
Selfish.
Yeah. In there for jazz band for highlighters, and then I was a band aide before highlighters.
Shout out.
And then I was just in there during my off period, 8th period, because I didn't have a car yet, so I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, me and my buddies would all. I had really smart friends. I still do have really smart friends.
So they were all in class.
But they were they were doing IB at the time.
Gotcha.
So like, hey man, I'll be here till 10 o'clock tonight. I can't take you home today. And I was like, oh, I'll just go to the band hall.
It's okay.
I'll just hang out there. So, but it was the right group of people
In front of you.
in front of me that they didn't make it look cool, but they made it look realistic. They made it. They were human. Man, they really did invest they invested in every kid. Don't get me wrong. They really did invest in every kid. They wanted to make sure every kid had that quality experience. But the kids that wanted to pursue music, they were like, hey, you got to do these things.
They acknowledged it and they showed them what it is that they had to do and all that.
Yeah. I remember learning. I learned clarinet on the first suite in E flat.
What?
Oof.
I was given the first clarinet part to that.
That's not an easy part.
What? I know. And I spent a lot of times working on that. And we just got into essentially Ellington also. So like the reason why I was doing that because a lot of the lead tenor parts were all clarinet
doubling,
parts. So yeah. It was the right group of people getting involved in essentially Ellington, doing all this crazy stuff with the band. And believe it or not, like we do way more than like when I was in high school. I mean, we were busy, but like we are way busier now. But you know, just the right group of people and seeing them model what it was like to like really have fun, be on the podium. Yeah, we like any director, you're gonna have your bad day. You're gonna lose your cool and like blow a gasket. That's it's gonna happen anywhere.
Yeah.
It's part of the gig. It's gonna happen anywhere. It happens in the non-band world. Happens in the band world. Happens anywhere. But just all the right group of people, and it just made me realize, yeah, I totally can do this.
Yeah.
And it was without a doubt.
Now, see, like I asked that because I want to know what that was like, because I was very much not the case for me. Like, I just kept doing bands because I was good enough at it.
Yeah.
And like I kept moving a lot, and I knew that like band was like whether I knew it like outwardly or subconsciously, like band was a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Like I could find homies in bands when I made a new place. So like I did an after-school program when I was in New Mexico. I think it was through the Y, and the first instrument I played, I remember rolling up late to that, so I didn't get to pick my instrument.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 instruments left, and the teacher was like, and I don't remember how I ended up, but I ended up playing flute. I ended up playing flute for 2 years.
Yeah.
And very obviously, that was weird.
You got cut out for a second.
Yeah, whatever. Electronics, man.
I hate
When
you.
I'm around them, they hate me. Even when I'm with people that know what they're doing, still hate me. So I did the flute thing. The teacher had no idea what they were doing. My I'm sure was 50 Shades of effed up.
You got a weird face.
I got a weird face. Yeah, just as it is. Maybe the teacher was just that good that they just knew that my face was just not having it. That I shouldn't be playing
that does
flute.
happen.
But they taught me to play flute, and like I did it for 2 years, and it was dope. And then I moved to Florida. Ended up dropping flute, picked up percussion, and then did that for 3 years, and I was like okay at it.
Yeah.
But also back in Florida, we didn't have the homogeneous class that we have out here.
Yeah.
It was all heterogeneous. So I distinctly remember like beginning band was straight up beginning band. It was we just ran through the.
That's the way it was when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah, essential.
You bought your Ed Suedo book.
Okay.
Like, here's line 1. Let's play this.
Here's the concert F. D.
And that was a nice concert F, because in 6th grade it was like,
yeah. And I remember my director doing that every year. That was his big thing. He was like, he'd be talking. He was like, "Yo, like let's talk about the how much your kids have grown." He was like, "This is what the first note sounded like on the first day." And he told us, he was just like, "Just do something." And he was just like, "Ready?"
Yeah.
He's like, and then after a couple of weeks, we got it to here, and then it was like a decent concert up. But again, I was just like, I was doing it because it was cool. I had homies in there.
Yeah.
Still not trying to pursue that. Get to the high school gig. Again, just cool. But by that point, I was like, I'm just doing the military like my family, the rest of my family. I'm not trying to go to no college. I'm not trying to do nothing like that. Like, I know what the benefits are of military. Let's do that. And then I had a whole ass plan. I was like, I'm gonna do I'm gonna join the military. They're gonna send me to baking school. I'm gonna become a master baker. Yes, master baker.
Sorry, I'm a child.
Yeah, I know.
Enunciation is key.
Yeah, notice I initially put the pause. Master baker. And then I was gonna do 20 years in the military, and then I was gonna get out, retire, open up my own shop. I was like, boom, my life's squared away.
Yeah.
This was like 9th grade. I was like, I ain't gotta worry about none of this college nonsense.
Yeah.
And then 12th grade, some other things happened, and that's for later stories. But I was in this college prep course, and these teachers convinced me to do the college thing. And even then, I wasn't gonna do music education. I was gonna do sound recording.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to do
cool.
the production side of things. And it wasn't until I taught for the first time that I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Like, it's interesting that like 6th grade you pull out the horn, you're like, oh yeah, this is my life forever now.
And I was not like, don't get me wrong, I was not like, I'm going to be a teacher. Like that was not like, I'm going to be a teacher. Like this is it. It was not like that. Teaching just comes naturally to me. I mean, my dad, longtime teacher, my mom, longtime teacher. We brought in kids into our house. I have adequate enough people skills to know how to keep, like, say the right things at the right time. Always kind of help people as they need them. Both my parents are huge of that servant mentality. They want to make sure the community is taken care of before they're taken care of. So that just seeing that, you know, some things like you may have dealt with in your young teaching career already, you may have been like, I don't know how to like handle this. Oh, dude, you just got to do this. That's it. That's what I got to do. And you're like, what? That sounds so easy. It should be that easy, you know, because teaching is you're just communicating.
Yeah.
You know, you're showing someone you care. You're showing someone that you're there for them. You're serving in a way. And to me, that's huge. You know, that was not my first go-to. Because when I started college, I was going to go to North Texas, be a jazz studies guy, and go live in New York, live the life. You know, glad I'm not doing that now. Because, man, that would be like, that would be absolutely terrifying.
Shout out to all homies that perform.
But that was the career plan at the time. And it wasn't, while my dad was working, he got his master's degree.
Okay.
And I remember him like saying like, well, if I want to get a doctorate, I was like, what are you gonna do with a doctorate? He goes, oh, I'll just like be a doctor about stuff, you know. I'll say profound things, and people will go, that's very insightful. Like, you need a degree for that?
Yes.
And he's like,
indubitably.
Yeah, and you know, but when I saw, you know, seeing him go through that to like enhance his education to become a principal, asking him questions like, well, why is it that, you know, kids behave this way? He goes, oh, it's because they don't. And he would like really break it down for me for somebody like in 7th or 8th grade. He'd be like, well, think about this. Are you going to eat dinner tonight? Well, yeah, duh. Who wouldn't? He goes, well, these kids aren't. Why not? And he'd be like, well, because they can't afford it. Why not? And he was like, he would lead me in these conversations where it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. No wonder this kid's behaving this way because XYZ is not falling into place, which are things maybe you and I take for granted. Maybe Evan, you take for granted. You know, it's, you know, you have a place to sleep, you have a bed to sleep on, you have a bed to sleep in. You know, like kids that my parents have hosted have, you know, I was like, hey man, like you want a blanket? He goes, I've never had a blanket before. Well, I mean, do you want one? Like, I'll give you one. He's like, okay, you know, like here, just take it. It's yours. You know, if you want something to be warm, here. My parents would always like, they'd always keep all of our old clothes and hand them out to the kids as they do. I mean, they did a lot of great things for that stuff, but you know, it didn't really settle in until I think. So like when I did my master's degree. So backtrack. So my dad did a master's degree, and I had like a joke with him. I was like, "Oh man, like Dad, you totally could have gotten a doctorate by now." You know, and he's like, "Well, let's see you get a doctorate." I was like, "All right, well maybe I will." Like whatever.
Big bet.
Yeah, and we actually in retrospect we had a bet. Like I was supposed to get a doctorate before I'm 40, or I owe him $1,000.
Damn.
So which that's like I got time.
You got some time on
that.
Yeah. 4 or 5 years.
I got like 4 years. That's not gonna happen. But
hey man.
So
just get a doctorate. Easiest thing possible, bro.
Yeah, I mean, rest of the story's not with us, but yeah, that's been on my mind recently because it's like, you know, all the internet ads that pop up. Yeah. You know, like you look at one website and then your Facebook is full of that. Yeah, and I was like, man, why do I want to buy new running shoes? Oh, I've been looking at this for the whole time. Yeah. So, but like a lot of like online opportunities have come up, and I was like, hey, maybe I should get a doctorate now. If we're not going back to school, and
I mean, that's what Kayla did.
Yeah.
She's out there getting her master's right now through U of H.
Yeah. Like just go back online, get a doctorate, you know. But that'd be weird to be at a high school and be Dr. Duran as an assistant director. Like, but you know, I've like at the same time like, well, I did it before I was 40, so I knocked that off the list.
Got it, pops.
Yeah. But I think I'll buy a treadmill instead. So.
You gotta get one of those. Getting
back into it is just one of those that came so naturally for the teaching part that I taught all through undergrad. I taught privately all through graduate school, and then when my brother passed away, I came back to Temple. That's what brought me back to Temple because I was going to do the doctorate circuit, do the auditions. You know, at the time, I just proposed to my wife, or my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, and. It was one of those. My teacher at Baylor was like, "So what schools are we looking at? You know, are we looking at Michigan? Are we looking at Tech? Are we looking? You know, what do you think?" And I was like, "I think I need a job. I think I'm tired of being at school. I think I'm tired of like living off $800 a month, which there's no way that would like ever happen now. Yeah, I mean I could.
You can make it work, but it
would be slim.
It's
I would not have as many running shoes anymore.
real thin at that point, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
in my boat, we got one pair of shoes.
Yeah.
That you've had for 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah. Like I mean, we could make it work, and but it was one of those like I think I need a job, and he's like, all right, well, you could probably get an adjunct job somewhere. And in fact, he offered me an adjunct job at Baylor in the event I did not get
Really?
a public school gig.
Oh, that would have been
And so when Temple offered, I was like, all right, I guess I'm supposed to be here. Let's do this. And my 3-year plan turned into the plan that we're with now, and
here we are.
yeah, here we are. So, like I said, it's just a weird thing that I really love music. I really like teaching, and it's evident. I mean, I always use my private students as the example because I mean that's where I do have a lot of fun. I love the big band, I love the full band setup. I love the jazz band setup. I love the chamber stuff. But I really like that one-on-one time with a student where we can, kids like, hey, I really want to do this.
It just hits. It hits differently.
And I can
on the
go,
education side.
well, cool. Here's what you got to do. Like with our boy Kyle over the years.
Shout out to Kyle Cunningham.
Had that kid from 6th grade all through high school, all through 12th grade. Got to be with him his senior year,
Yep.
which is was like started him, finished him. All right, I'll be fortunate to have another Kyle in the next year or two. We might have one, we may not. If we don't, that's just a special kid that he did great things, and people are like, man, you did a great job. I was like, I just showed him some cool stuff and told him to say thank you whenever he finished the performance. Like he asked me how to play these notes, and I just showed him, and then I said, make sure you say thank you when you're done
Always say
performing.
thank you.
Always say thank you. So, but it was, and he might be one of those kids that was the catalyst that kept me here. Him and a few other kids. Ashley Taylor was one of those kids. She was one of my students. She was one of the she just always worked hard. Kevin Montalongo was one of those kids, he took lessons with me, and he's like, I just want to set a goal. I want to be able to do this, and it wasn't like, hey, I want to make an all-state band. It was, I want to get a 1 on the solo with a chance to take it to state. So that individual hype that the kids really buy into. And so that was the thing. And, at the time, Kyle's freshman year, I think this is what really kind of kept me around Temple quite a bit. Kyle's freshman year, his brother made the all-state jazz band, 3rd trumpet, 2nd band. And Kyle had a legitimate shot to kind of crack in. We weren't really sure. We just yeah, dude, you probably make it. Yeah, you make the big kid, man, no problem. But he's just competitive enough in nature that he just worked his tail off. Yeah. And ended up making runner-up his freshman year, runner-up his sophomore year, runner-up his made it his junior year, and then a runner-up for All-State Jazz, and then made top 10er his senior year. It's just wow, that's crazy, man. That's cool. I think that kind of stuff is what has really inspired me to be around here. Not just Kyle per se, but all the students I've sat down with and go, what do you want to get better at?
Yeah.
In a one-on-one setting, what do you want to be good at?
Yeah.
What do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
And so like our boy Carlo, I sat down with him and done some private lessons with him through jazz, and he was like, oh, I didn't know we could do stuff like this. This is kind of cool. I don't understand this. Well, this is why this works this way. And he's like, oh man, that's crazy. And just to see them kind of light up that little bit of stuff, that's what draws me into it. Yeah. And then when it all clicks with the full band knows when it clicks. They're just like, oh, dude, this feels right.
That felt right.
This is good.
That felt good.
Yeah.
Man, I had one of those moments with the concert band this year, and they legitimately almost cried. Yeah. Cried on the podium because that was the first time that had ever happened to me.
Sure.
2nd year of being in front of a band.
Yeah.
And then I jokingly yelled at them. I was like, why? What the hell, y'all? Why are we waiting this long to
Yeah.
We all know that didn't suck, right? We all feel good about that.
That was good, right? Everybody heard that?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
You didn't. What y'all been waiting on?
Yeah.
Why'd y'all all of a sudden feel the need I guess I'll show up today on this second movement.
Yeah.
But kind of looping back around, I like what you said about when the homie was like, I've never had a blank before, and you were just well, do you want one?
Yeah, here, take this.
One of the dudes I went to school with, and he's now on some sort. I think he's still on some sort of the admin at Texas State. Shout out to Dan Bankett. But what I got from him, what I loved from him was every now and then he would just roll up to him and be like, "Hey, you hungry?" And college kid is man, I ain't got no money. And he was
of course I'm hungry.
But he was like, that's not what I asked. Are you hungry? And when that first happens to you, you're just like, what does that mean? Like what? Like
Well, I mean,
what?
think back to all the kids you talk to in Temple so far. Like, hey man, are you good today? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm good. No. Like, are you good?
Yeah.
Like, you gonna
yeah.
make it today? You
And
know, we've all
that's-
seen those kids, and you're like, you gonna be all right today?
Yeah.
Because
And
if you need a moment,
that's definitely something that like I kind of took from him.
Yeah.
Exactly in that light. Like, you know, like a couple of times I'm like, hey, you gonna get lunch today?
Yeah.
Bro, I got some. Get some snacks.
Yeah, yeah.
I got some in my thing. It's like, here's $5, man. Like, oh, but like also like on that personal side of things, it's like, hey man, like everything's straight at home.
yeah,
Yeah. No, man. Like, is everything actually
yeah.
straight at home? And you know, sometimes they'll actually answer you. Sometimes they won't. But it's
You ask enough times.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
dig in enough,
I mean,
you'll
you
get
know
some
me
out.
well enough
Yeah.
by this point where it's like, no, I don't think you heard me. Are you okay? Because you're not leaving until we have this talk.
No, so we're gonna step in the office real quick, and I'm gonna ask you again. We'll shut the door,
Yeah,
but let's chat.
yeah.
But I, like you said, like the teaching thing came easy, and my thing was I distinctly remember 10th grade, just having this like epiphany, this moment in my life where I was like, my purpose in life is to make people feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, that's why I wanted to pursue food, because I knew like if any up, down, left, right emotion that you have, you're gonna go eat.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, let's do that. But then, you know, as I said, as I got to that, the first time stepping in front of the kids, I was like, oh, that's actually what that statement meant. And, you know, it's been a ride for sure, man.
And I tell you one really great thing. I remember this happening my senior year. So like we played a really tough program at UIL. We did like Tempered Steel. We did When Jesus Wept. And then which I mean, those two are like monsters already.
Yeah.
And then we did Easter Monday on the White House lawn. Really great. Sousa March. That's, you know, one of the, it's not a rare one, but it's not one of the more popular ones.
I don't know it.
But
and Susan's
I remember
like,
playing that, and we got like a 1-1-2 or something like that.
Damn.
And like all the kids were like, "Oh, I can't believe it!" I was like, you know, and I just remember walking up to Carl. I was like, "Hey, how'd we sound though? Like, 'cause I feel like we sound pretty good."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, we sounded good. Like, I don't think this is accurate of what we actually did." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Like, yeah,
Shout out to Caldwell,
I
just throwing down.
I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
like, okay, because I feel like I
We're
feel like
on
it's
the
a
same
group.
page, yeah.
Like, from what I heard, like being, you know, tenor sax middle of the band, just kind of hitting. I was like, oh, dude, man, we were like playing the snot out of this right now.
Feels
Dang, we
good,
sound
yeah.
good. Yeah. So
Right on, man.
yeah. So it's interesting to kind of see it all come back together.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good where it is, man. It really is. You know, and I can tell people this is the place where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I can always say that with a lot of sincerity. As much as my mom or anybody would tell you how much I don't want to be back in Temple, never wanted to come back to Temple. I'm like any kid from their hometown.
Yeah.
I'm never coming back here. Come back, have a family, and, you know,
Here we are. there is something there. I don't know. Maybe it's just like me, like feeling unfinished business, or if it's just Temple itself. But like, there's just something that's definitely keeping me here.
And they were like, this is so. When I graduated Baylor, I still wanted to perform.
Yeah.
I still had the performance bug. Still wanted to plan on going and doing something with performance degree or whatever. I took auditions.
Yeah.
Auditioned for the
military.
I
Right?
did. I did the Navy band audition my first year teaching. Will can tell you about that, man. I mean, he heard me like I'd be up there at the school like till, you know, 9 o'clock at night, just like shedding away at these excerpts.
Yeah.
You know, and just all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Never made it past the preliminary rounds. One of those auditions I took with a buddy of mine, he made it to like the next round.
Damn.
He was a semifinalist in that. So, but once I realized like, all right, this is starting to cost a lot of money to take these auditions. That's cutting into my PlayStation time. You know?
So he's seen people do that twice, because I did the same thing. I had my binder of excerpts.
Yeah.
I was just standing in the band hall like 6 o'clock at night.
But I mean, that's what I love about, you know, when I started the middle school gig, it was one of those, because someone's like, hey, you should go right into high school. Like, oh, no, man. Like,
Not for me.
that's a different kind of animal, and I'm not really meant for that, you know,
Yeah.
because just at my previous experience, and yeah, just like you, Evan, I had my excerpt list. I was planning some recitals to do just to keep the playing chops in shape. So that way, if I did apply for a doctor, I'd get some good recordings. I still did 2 like separate recitals in the last 10 years and did like I have like bucket list tunes. I'm like, I'm gonna play that, play that, play that.
Hell yeah.
It's whenever I give it to the piano player, because you're a saxophone player.
Yeah.
You give those piano parts to the piano players, like, I'm not playing that, man. I don't play that. That's not piano.
You're just way
music.
too hard. It's too hard.
It is
hard.
too hard.
Silly music.
It's literally like for accompaniment for 4 hands, not 2. But and then when you do have something I can do it, they do cost an arm and a leg, but it's gonna sound really good. So I think I spent like $700 for accompaniment on those 2 recitals for one guy, but it was literally, he's like, hey, our dress rehearsal will be this day, and your performance this day. Yeah, cool, I can make all that work. And literally just walk in, we hit our transitions, ran them down. He goes, are you good? In like 45 minutes.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah, man, I'm great. Are you good? He's like, oh yeah, okay. And it's just because like all the students, it was one of the piano players from Baylor. He like, they're all working on the same thing I'm working on. He's like, oh yeah, I got like 8 kids playing this, man. Yeah, this is easy. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, do you want a page turner? No, I'll be all right. I got this part memorized. Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, sure, no problem. So yeah, but Evan, I was like, I'm just like that, man. I had all my excerpts laid out. I did Navy band audition. I did an Air Force audition. I did a Pershing Zone audition.
Damn.
I just never cracked. So I was like, all right, so this is not for me.
Guess not.
All right, cool. All right, on to the next thing. And then as Bob Medina made his way out, I was like, maybe I should go to the high school. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Because when he left, they just had the head director job posted.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll throw my name in that. Yeah, sure. I don't want to be the head director.
Not
but I would
me.
like you to know that I'm serious about
being
moving
out
up.
here.
Yeah, about moving up. So, who knows when the time comes if I'm going to be a head director at some point. God, I can't even fathom that responsibility.
I mean, by the way of the land, man, I don't see.
Now, like Brent handles it very well.
Oh, dude.
He is a taskmaster about that stuff. He has it all, does it well. I can't fathom.
Yeah, no.
On the days, on the very minimum amount of days he's been out, just him not being there, and I'm like, all right, it's just me and Bonita today. Oh God.
And it's always really inconvenient times, like maybe like a middle school concert week, or like just some like I'm worried about like a competition on the weekend, and just like.
And it's nothing against Brent. Like I said, he's one of those is like I have to take Garrett to college. Okay. Yeah, man, we got it. And then it's like, oh man, if like something goes down, I think I'm the next man up in the chain of command. Oh,
yeah, it ain't me. It's never me.
Yeah.
If
it is.
You're out, I'm taking the day out.
Yeah,
Astrid can take care of it.
Yeah,
and
it's just
then
one of
she can
those
just be
like
the substitute.
Oh God, like what's about to happen here? And like when he was out for something family related when they were doing the dance on #2. He's like, hey, if you want to run this with the kids tomorrow, I was like, yeah. Let me get my score from Omnia so I can study this and not embarrass myself.
Relearn this bad boy.
Yeah, let me just and literally I did legit score study. It was all marked, all this crazy stuff, and I remember stepping in front of the kids and they were like, "Do you even know what you're about to do?" I was like, "Yeah, I got an idea. Here we go. Let's play this thing." And they were like, and I was like, "Hang on for the ride, folks, because I'm not stopping."
We going.
Yeah.
Oh man, his program. I'm really sad those kids didn't get to play that program.
Yeah, man. He had
his program, your program, shit, my program, like it was.
That's the downside to quarantine life is that we didn't get a chance to show off our kids in the semester that really does showcase their individual talent, which we did their individual talents. They did well as an ensemble, but we did not get to showcase them as a full ensemble in a concert setting, which is a bummer because they were starting to really hit some things. They were starting to hit their pre-UIL strides and all the other stuff that goes on.
It was feeling good going in spring break, and then you're like, all right, we're gonna hit it hard.
Yeah.
Once we get back, and then.
So what's eerie? Mm-hmm. Our old whiteboard that we had on the stage, before we trashed it out, the last thing I wrote up there, "Happy spring break, go practice."
Oh.
That was the last thing the kids read, at least from me, and I still mean that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, man, what would have been? What would have been for those kids, And that, I saw that, I was like, all right, we should throw this away now because we got a new one, and I don't want to read that.
It's making sad.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, you got any final thoughts? Any final
thoughts?
Anything that you want to? This would be the time for plugging, but you're a high school band director. I don't think you got much to plug.
I don't have much to plug, man.
So just anything for because a lot of our the students are actually listening. Our students are listening.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. I knew that was gonna
be weird.
I knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't like acknowledge that.
I hope y'all are practicing right now. If y'all got time to waste on this, y'all better be practicing.
But you know, like students, other teachers,
You know, man,
just people in general.
parting thoughts, parting shots, final thoughts. I don't know, man. I hope we're gonna be okay. I don't know, and that's that eerie M. Night Shyamalan kind of feeling that I get out of all this. But I think we're gonna be okay. To all of our students, you know, I'm ready to get back to work with you guys. Like, you know,
I'm sorry.
this is my first year as the director of the Highlighters. I have waited. You know, I literally have dreamed of this moment, and it's on pause right now.
Yeah.
That literally eats at me every day. And just so you students, so you know, man, I'm like listening to charts. Y'all better be ready to like go to work because
Yeah, better take
I've
this
got
quarantine.
I've got some fun stuff planned, and you know, final thoughts. Man, be good to one another. That's all I can say. You got, you know, be good to one another. That's it, man. We got some tumultuous times coming up. I'm not gonna say how you should vote, but those of you that can vote, please vote. Whether it's for
Research. Just
whether
do
it's
your
for
research.
Republican, whether it's for Democrat, whether it's for
That's
Green
my biggest
Party.
thing. I don't care what you're voting on, but
Let
just
your
do your research.
What's really okay? So this is a really good final parting thought, at least for me. Hopefully, I can articulate this in a way that is the way I want it to be. So with all the Black Lives Matter stuff,
Yep.
you know how I felt about it because I sat down with you and Brent. Was like, hey, I feel like we should say something.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the time when a lot of people were coming out, taking their stand. And what's really cool is to see our students really take that stand to the next level. They're attending protests.
Yeah.
They're getting involved in their community. They want to make sure, and I'm not just talking about our African American students, I'm talking about our white students, our Hispanic students, our Asian students. I mean, kids of all races are coming out and saying like, hey, like we can make a difference. And I didn't grow up during the civil rights movement or at all or anything like that. I've always loved it. I always loved reading the history about it because that was a big time of change, and we're at that same moment too, where I follow some of our graduates on Instagram, and they're putting some pretty, like, for me as a dad, as a parent of a son, who will never have any of those problems that African American kids have. My kid is Hispanic. He looks white. I'm Hispanic. I look white. You know, and to see all of our kids from all backgrounds putting the stuff they're putting up, man, let your voices be heard every single day. It is okay to disagree with somebody. It is okay to speak your mind. It is okay to make sure your voice is heard somehow. Speak up. Somebody will listen to you. And man, that's all I can say to those folks, man, because I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, you guys literally will be the ones that change the world. I feel like I can change the world, but I'm not going to have as big as an impact. But you guys will have a greater impact because this is your cause. This is your fight. I'm going to do what I can to support them, do what I can to support our students, man. Anybody that wants to be supported, whether I like you or not, you know, it's just whether I agree with your beliefs or not, I'm still going to support you because you deserve that as a human being, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's a basic fundamental right for your voice to be heard. You know, it's and I think our kids need to make sure they do that. If you're 18, register to vote, please. You know, I've had to tell people like, hey, you should vote. If you're unhappy, vote. Let's make a difference. You know, and if people always say, you know, if you don't vote, you're voting for this guy. If you do vote, if you write in a vote, you know, you're really voting for this guy. Take it seriously. Do your research, like I said. But speak up. Let your voice be heard. I want to hear you. Bonilla wants to hear you. Simmons wants to hear you. Everybody wants to hear you, man. So don't feel like you have to keep it bottled up inside. Speak up. Let us hear you, man. And that's the most important thing to me right now. So I feel like that's what our kids need to be doing, man.
Shout out, man.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to end on, man.
Yeah,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
you coming out.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you being guest number just 2, right?
2,
Yeah,
yeah.
just guest number 2.
Guess
man.
number 2. All right.
Much appreciated, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully
man.
have you back on once live. Hopefully the next time. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully the next time we have you on, life is somewhat back to
Hopefully
normal.
it's normal, man.
Or if it's not a normal, we just have more topics to talk on.
Yeah.
With the world on fire.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Be easy. Y'all be easy. As always, thank you, Mr. Simmons.
Yeah, thanks, guys.